people often wonder what are the best settings to have for trials. So on PS4, since it's a console, the lag can be a little bit monstrous, so I try and limit what I set, but also have it be useful. Okay, so the first thing to start with is your camera. You can see the closer you are, the harder it is to see anything that could be attacking you. So first you'll hold down on the down direction on your D-pad on your controller, and then take your right joystick and pull it all the way out. Okay, so that's all the way out, and you'll want to go to your options and camera. Make sure your screen shake is all the way to the left. If we turn it on right, you can see when I put down my blockade, it kind of shakes like that, and that's a bit obnoxious. So if you're to take it all the way to the left, it's also supposed to help with lag a little bit, but you can see the difference. It makes it easier to see stuff. Okay, so you don't usually need to mess with any of this stuff. You don't really play in first person, so don't worry about that. But the first person, sometimes people have their D-pad pulled all the way back, and that's all as far as it can go. They're like, why can't I see what's going on? So if you go in here, then you take this all the way to the right, and you have the best visibility that you can in a trial setting. So it may be a little bit difficult to see inside of that room. So I'll just go out here real quick, see if you can see. So now you can see like everything that's going on around you. Okay, so we don't need to worry about this guy at all. Any other settings you want to do. If you ever need to take a screenshot of something, like let's say you just finished your trial, got your skin, and you want a lovely screenshot without anything in it, any of your bars, you can just go to that mode and take that, and then just circle to get out of it. As far as audio goes, I always turn the master volume down when I'm in trials so that I can hear the people talking and doing callouts. So the master volume will reduce your volume on pretty much everything here, but if you want to hear the players more, you can turn that up. I usually have it about here and can hear them just fine, and I can still hear some of the effects. One other thing is for Sunspire, since the Dragon War is broken right now, it's really obnoxious and makes you want to, like, I don't know, throw your controller halfway through the Sunspire fights. So I'll turn my effects all the way down, but you want to make sure you come back in and turn them back up for other trials. As far as gameplay goes, it's up to you if you want your vibration on or off. Don't really mess with that guy. Combat cues you're going to want to have on so it can tell you things that are coming up, as much as it will actually do that. As far as the custom colors go, I like to choose something really bright. So if we test this, it'll show that, but I like to keep mine transparent. So if you turn it all the way up here, you can see it's really bright, but I don't care as much about my friendly AoEs. So I turn it down so that I don't run away from those as much. Like, let's say Hollow Fang that spawns, you think it's nasty, but it's actually not. I like to have my enemy color a bright yellow. I've messed with blues and greens and pinks and everything. This is just works for me. So if I test this, it's nice and bright. You should be able to step out of things when it gives you a clue. The default, I believe, has it all the way down, so if you do that, you're not going to see this very well in the middle of combat, so do yourself a favor and turn this all the way up, and you can see that. As far as your ground abilities, you're definitely going to want this on. So I can test this with my Boneyard here. So that's one button press and it's down. Okay, if you're going to turn this off, then I'm going to have to select where I want it, move it around, and then press it down. So that pretty much means a double click, and that you don't want that in trials. Okay, so make sure you turn that back on. This stuff doesn't make too much of a difference. You'll You can have your tutorials on if you'd like. That's up to you. Okay, as far as any other cameras, we pretty much went over that. Interface, you can do whatever display you want. I just like to see people's online ID, their PSN names. Okay, and let's see, these don't make that much of a difference in trials. As far as nameplate goes, I have those on so I can see someone around me. You can turn on and off these things. The less things you have on is supposed to help more with lag, but it's nice to be able to see who you're looking at if you need like a quick reference. And I like to show if I'm injured on the bar above my head. I can't really hurt myself to show you, but and then group members, I want to show if they're bars above their head, like if they're injured or targeted. This is especially important if you're a healer, so you can keep that up for them, keep up their health. I like to highlight the group members so they're always up so I can find them. I don't like to show the NPCs, but that's also up to you. Enemy NPCs, I like to show their nameplate, their bar above their head. These can be a little bit on your preference, but I like to have those on. So this is the health bar that I was talking about. These are just the names up in this section. Okay, so I like to have the health bar on so I can always keep an eye on my teammates and where they are. I like the center alignment, but you can pick whatever you want. I want to show when the damage is taken. And I have these self numbers off. So the rest of it doesn't matter as much to me. The more stuff you have on, the more it can mess up with your lag, supposedly. Okay, this isn't as important for trials, but if you ever do find yourself getting distracted, you can technically come in here and turn off your chat box. So you would just turn this off. Okay, as far as combat goes, I always want to show my ability bar. If I don't have my ability bar on, then I don't know what to do to pre-buff. I can't ever see it. I don't know what my buttons are. Okay, if you have it automatic, then it will just come up. It's supposed to just come up whenever you go in combat. But I'd like to always show it because I want to see what my skills are at the bottom. How do I even know what bar I'm on? Okay, as far as your attribute bars, I like to always show it. If you have it off, I don't know where anything is, where my resources are. If I have it on automatic, it'll just show something that's affected. So you can do that if you want, but I like to keep an eye on it on all the time because then I can see what my numbers are. On the bottom of the screen. Resource numbers. Let's go back in and look at the dummy for this one. So those are going to be on the enemy. Okay, so you can see that it says they have 20.9 mil health, 99%. I like to keep both of those on because the enemies have different amounts of health. So if you just keep percentage on, it won't help you as much. If you just keep numbers on, it won't help you to know when to execute if you have an execute ability. So I like to keep both of those on. So if I turn this off, then all I have is that to look at. So I just have a bar. If I turn it to numbers only, then you can see it just says 20.8 million, but I don't know what percent I'm at. And if I turn it to percent only, then I only know it's 99%. And if I have multiple enemies that I'm trying to attack, I won't know which one has more health to try and target to get them down at the same time. So that's why I like having both on. Okay, so the combat tips, it will tell you when it's necessary for the core mechanics of the combat. So like, so let's say you're in Feeball and it's telling you your conversions are coming, you'll want that on. Ultimate number, always have this on. As you can see, it's on the bottom corner. So it shows me I'm about to have my my Colossus ready. So I'm just gonna get it at 225. So now it's there. And if you're in the middle of combat, you look down, your number's at like 400, you're like, oh, I haven't been using my ulti like I should. So that's really good for tracking. Combat text, you can have this on or off. So if I turn this on, then it's going to be showing different numbers here. Okay. So that just allows it to be on. Now I can determine what I want on or off. So I'm going to turn on all outgoing damage. And you can see that number went up. See the orange numbers on there. Okay, so that's what that's showing. If you have a large ad pull, then that can get a little much when there's numbers going on everywhere, but some people like to track what they have going out. I personally don't need to look at that, and I like to minimize stuff on my screen so I can watch more mechanics. So you can turn that on or off, depends on you. Or you could turn off every little bit of thing if you want. For incoming, nothing's really going to hit me right now. So there's nothing much I can show you on that one, but I usually have mine off on that for my incoming damage. Okay, as far as buff and debuffs go, I have mine as always show. If I don't show anything, it's not going to show anything on the top or the bottom of the screen. You can see all those icons are gone. Okay, so if I turn it on for automatic, it's just going to come up when I'm in combat. Okay, so if I turn it on to always show, then that just means that it'll always show what I have effective on me. So like on the left I have, you can see on the bottom I have my Mundus and my food, things like that. If you want to know what those things are, you can go into your character sheet and look at your active effects. So that's what's going to show up on the bottom. All these things are from the dummy I just hit. Okay, so back to our options. You can turn on self buffs, buffs, self buffs, self debuffs, target debuffs. From others, I usually have this off. The reason being, it's going to show at the top of your screen everything you absolutely put down. So right now you can only see like my trap and my degeneration timer. Those are the only things with timers on the top. If you put on everyone's, your whole top of your screen is going to have rows upon rows. The only time you find that helpful is if you see when I put down my Colossus here, there's that green guy on the right. That's his vulnerability for when the timer's off for that, so the next one. So if you don't have other Necros in your group, calling out when that's ready, because I'll wait till it goes down to 0 and say Colossus ready, then that can be helpful. If you're tracking your dots for anything, I really would recommend turning it off. Okay, long-term effects are on. That's like food. So if I turn it off, then some of that stuff's not going to be on, but I want to know when my food's on. So there we go. And permanent effects, that would be things like ESO plus, etc. So that's pretty much it for the settings, for your trial settings. That'll help you. And you can go ahead and choose what works best for you, but those are the ones that I recommend and why.